In the motorcycle world, the petrol motorcycle manufacturers, the Bajaj, the TVSs, the Hondas, they have not decided to sort of enter the market yet. And in a way, it's similar to Tesla. When Tesla started in the US, they were a small startup. No one knew them, no one believed them. And so it takes companies like that to sort of start the transition. And so we have some of those, both locally available, local manufacturers, as well as internationally. So the technology is still very much in its infancy stage, and we're also, as a transport company, experimenting and understanding, the different motorcycles available, the different battery configurations, and we would like to also help kind of shape the industry as it sort of grows and becomes more mainstream. There are a number of sort of concerns that drivers will have in transitioning to electric. The biggest being range. So obviously your battery requires to be charged. And that charge gets you a certain number of kilometers of drivability that could or could not be enough for you for that day. And then you don't want to sit waiting 4 hours for a battery to charge. And you don't even know where you could go and charge it, especially if you're driving commercially, as most of the boda riders do. So that's obviously a key concern. And I think there are approaches the industry is taking to mediate that risk. There's something known as battery as a service. So as an example, when you have your cooking cylinder, gas cylinder at home, when it's empty, you just take it to a petrol station, you swap it out, and you get a new one, a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes, and you've got a full cooking gas cylinder. It's the same with this battery as a service model, where you approach a charge station, you swap out your battery. I think the video captured that and so that is something that
Nabil, did you have to do work to like engage the riders to like help their minds adjust to this is doable? Like you have quite a number of riders now, right?
Yeah, close to 300.
How did you convince them?
So I mean, ultimately we were offering a job. So we were offering a job to people with motorcycle driving experience, and I think most of our drivers love the electric. I think when we did an early survey a couple of months into our operation, we sort of polled our drivers to say, would you, if you were able to buy or transition to an electric, and most said yes. I think there's a significant number of benefits. The most being actually it's cheaper to run and operate. Yes, the cost is more expensive upfront. But over a 2-3 year period, you more than recover that in sort of less maintenance, less fuels, significant fuel savings, etc. But as I said, the sort of industry as a whole does have a way to go. The grid, Kenya Power, etc. Availability of electricity and stable electricity throughout the city and the country is probably a big factor, and there are others as well.
Okay, so speak to the women issue. Do you have any women drivers? Is that something that you're looking at?
We do. We have, I think it's 4. So not a substantial number. We are trying to encourage women drivers, and we are actually working with a number of development organizations who are trying to encourage women drivers. We are looking at, for example, sort of a delivery-only product, so that sort of, I think there's a degree of discomfort for a woman driver to carry carry passengers. So we are looking at different programs to try and encourage more women to come into the sort of driving workforce. So if there are any women out there that are interested, please visit our website and sign up. We are trying to recruit as many as possible. But I think there's a cultural or other hesitation in that line of work.
Some even security concerns.
Possibly.
That's one of the things that's come up, whether it's just generally in the riders industry, whether it's electric or not, that's one of the issues that's come up for women. But I know it is being addressed. Also, there's a design issue, because I think some of the designs are more designed with the man in mind or with the male in mind. So there's those kind of subtle issues. And I know you said in your video that you also work with designers to give feedback, or rather the manufacturers to give feedback. So there's a consistent, sort of like improvement, which is good on your part. From a policy perspective, do you think as Kenya we are heading somewhere in terms of creating the right environment to encourage entrepreneurs like yourself or innovators? We have a few local manufacturers as well. Do you think that there's sufficient policy or a direction in that, some form of direction towards encouraging more people to take up e-mobility?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think a couple of points on that. I think the government last year put in place some budget related or fiscal related benefits for actors within the e-mobility space. So certain VATs were dropped on the importation of electric motorcycle and battery components to specific businesses here. And I think there are others. There's an electric mobility tariff for electricity consumption. So these are good indicators. Are they enough, and are they as broad or as thorough as other parts of the world? Maybe not yet, but we are seeing encouraging signs that even in this year's cycle, there may be some additional benefits that sort of help operators like us and manufacturers as well move, help speed the transition along.
Yeah.
So I would say yes, that some of the government in particular seems to want to encourage this. Obviously, we've seen what's happened with things like the dollar recently, and how bad or how sort of overnight it's gotten, depreciated so rapidly. E-mobility would mean that we could potentially significantly reduce our fuel importation, and that then has a knock-on impact on the dollar. So I think it's important that these things are in place, and I think there are actors like the Electric Mobility Association of Kenya, which Greenwheels is now a part of, that we're sort of trying to encourage the government to kind of on what policy changes they can make to help companies like us.
Yeah. And just as we draw to a close, I'm interested in the many young people, again, that follow us, and they're excited about green jobs, but then they're thinking, where do I start from? Yeah. And today we are focused obviously on e-mobility. And when I look across the value chain, there's the option of the charging, but that's usually for the, maybe more established businesses that I know even the fuel stations, some of them are trying to adopt, charging stations for electric bikes and electric vehicles. And then you have things like the battery, because I know that's also a specialized skill. And then you have things like the servicing. We saw one of your amazing young people who came in to wash the bikes, but then ended up being one of your mechanics, in terms of maintaining the e-bikes, which is really exciting. I understand why you did that from a HR perspective, and even just from a nurturing talent perspective. So that's really good of you. Very amazing and very impressive.
Thank you.
So just looking at the spectrum, assuming that this is a young person who's listening to you and thinking, I'm inspired by your story, I'm inspired by what you're doing. Where do I start as a young person? How do I plug in to be able to be part of this ecosystem? But mostly from even an innovation perspective, how do I engage as an innovator in this e-mobility space?
I mean, the advantage that all of us have today is that the power of information is in our hands with phones or computers and various other forms of media. So there's a lot of information out there. And I think in some ways there's too much information, and so how do you decipher it? But in terms of starting out, I think the electric mobility space in particular presents a number of exciting opportunities. Obviously, if you've not gone through tertiary education, even a starting point is starting as a driver. And then from a science or STEM perspective, you've got the whole maintenance, battery design, motorcycle design, and so there's mechanical, electrical opportunities available. And so we as an operator we're growing rapidly. So in terms of jobs, keep an eye on us, for example. There's always something available. But the space and sector as a whole is constantly innovating, is constantly growing. So whether it's joining one of the local manufacturers of motorcycles or electric motorcycles, I know one of our partners, Rome. They do maintenance or mechanic related internships and apprenticeships. So for students of STEM, that's an exciting opportunity, I'm sure. Beyond that, I mean, we publish a lot of jobs online, and just through my background from my previous experience at Fuzu, there's tons of stuff that's available online, and a lot of the times, really understanding yourself and what you're interested in, and then presenting that when you put forward to an employer, an entrepreneur, is really important. And I think, for those interested in jobs, and it's frustrating, I know, because I was a job seeker after I left university, and I had at least 100 applications that were denied before I finally got the job I ended up starting with. But I think, now that I sit in a slightly on the other side of the interview table, so to speak, I think I'm personally really looking for is someone who knows what they want to do. And is really sure of themselves and passionate.
I like that last point, because the more I've dealt in this job creation space, advocating for green jobs, the more I've realized that there are actually two sides to the story. There are those people who will hear that things are happening. Like, they'll probably watch this interview, they'll be inspired. But I realized that the only people that actually make the difference are the ones who do something about it. Yeah. Because you could have known about immobility and just sat there, maybe had, like you're saying, over dinner with your friend, it could have been just another conversation. Yeah. But you decided to take it further than just the conversation to actually implementing it. And this is a year down the line, and it's become a reality. And you mentioned in your previous video that you're increasing the number of bikes. So it starts with moving it beyond the moment of inspiration. Yeah. There are many of us who get ideas, and then later on, maybe you don't act on it, and then later on you see someone else doing it, and you're thinking, I thought of the same thing. Yeah. But the difference, I believe, is acting. Yeah. Going beyond the words. Yeah. So in your, I guess, closing remarks, what would you perhaps speak to the gap in terms of youth unemployment, but speak to the opportunity, because we believe that they're amazing and there are many opportunities, but they will come to those who actually take that step beyond. But from your perspective, having been in this space for a while and now doing something to, with new skill sets, or in a space where there are new skills that are being required, what would you tell the young people, the many of them across Africa who are unemployed and thinking, maybe there's nothing out there for me? Yeah. What can they do?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a problem. I think we all know that, there's a lot of our youth out there that don't have or have not yet found the opportunity to kind of take the next step in their career ladder, in their professional journey. I think there are businesses like what we're doing and others out there that are trying to sort of bridge the gap. There are opportunities now coming out there. I think I've been unemployed for some period of time a while ago, and I try to use the time to better myself, to learn, to engage, find your passion, and keep trying. I mean, every defeat is one loss closer to a win. Yeah. And so that's the only encouragement I can offer. Yeah. And I think to speak on the youth unemployment side, I don't really have that much experience with it, but I know that there are tons of organizations really trying to better the lives of youths, and so I think if we can contribute to that as well, then that's great. But that's probably what I would say. So we have, and we always have an active recruitment for drivers. So if you're, it's a stable salary, and as you said, there are benefits. We do have a lot of youth that join the driver program, work for a couple of months as they're waiting for their next, whether it's an office job or whatever it is they're aspiring towards. So, feel free to, check us out. The link to apply as a driver is on our website. So greenwheels.africa. Submit your details. You just need a couple of documents. There's no CV. There's no cover letter like most companies require. And at the moment we're looking at adding about 1,000 drivers over the next 6 months. Wow. So there's a lot of opportunity.
Awesome. It's always inspiring to hear it from, as they say, the horse's mouth, but in this case, the e-bike owner, entrepreneur's mouth. And today, Nabil is here, or was here, sharing with us his story. And if you are as inspired as I am, you as well can do something about the ideas that you've had in your mind. Today, we're speaking e-mobility. What's happening in the industry, it's no longer a pipe dream or something that is afar off. It's here and now, and there are people that are benefiting from it. You too can be part of it in the e-mobility space, as Nabil has shared. You can check out their website if you're interested in being a rider, boda, and you're interested in changing from, inatumia fuel when kwa electric bike. This is the opportunity. So please check them out. It's been amazing. Please continue to stay tuned with us. We told you in this season 2, we are bringing you the practicals, not just the theory around green jobs. This is the practicals. My name is Stella Bogonko. I have been your host, and thank you for hanging out with us. Please do continue to share this video, like it, leave your comments if you have any questions, if you have any other areas that you want to know, especially about e-mobility. Please do let us know, and we will get back to you or direct you to Nabil and the like. Thank you very much. My name is Stella Bogonko, co-founder and CEO Jacobs Ladder Africa, and this is Green Jobs Africa.